All right, we've got a lot of great information to go over today. We're going to go over the changes to the room rules, not only in the Cosmic Crucible, but also Alliance War. We're going to bring in the Cosmic Crucible expert himself. Duelim is here. The most beloved, well-liked streamer on Twitch. I don't know.
I'm love to be hated. To be hated. Yeah.
There's a running joke.
I love that.
Yeah. So if you are on Twitch, you're going to see a lot of negative comments posted, but they're endearing, and it's because the people love you. It's such a strange. Twitch is so. I don't know. Like there's a culture to it, right? It's
all sarcasm, it's all satire, and it's all in good fun. And I promise you, anybody that makes fun of me, I love it. I find it so funny when people like say stuff that's like actually hilarious. I love it, dude. I lean into it. It's fun.
All right, let's get into season 11. This is going to be starting on the 19th. So we're a week away. We got one more round, and then it'll start. Global rules: vampires versus zombies. So vampires is going to be Blade Oath and Morbius. And I think that there is a vampire tag in game. And my best guess is, because I've seen some of the data mines, is that this is going to be PvE content. Because there was like PvE vampires or generic things in the data mine. So I don't think this is anything more than that. All right. On defense and offense, Nightstalker characters gain 20% damage when attacking, carrying with bleed. Gain +1 offense up. What is they're going to be insane, aren't they, right?
Oh, yeah, they're going to be really good. I mean, Nightstalkers are already going to be good because they're the newest team, right? And we've gotten a couple raid teams since the last time this has come out, and now we have this global rule making them good everywhere. So I think they're going to be you're seeing it on defense already with the Agatha, Moon Knight, Blade, MLF comp.
Right. And
not only are they tanky, they hit like freight trains. Like if Agatha ults, you are full puckered, hoping you're not dead. You're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
I've learned it. I've learned it the hard way. Like if you don't control Agatha, it's going to be a problem. And then
and she resists everything.
Yeah, and then you got offense up on Agatha is not a good thing. Now, also, we're going to get into the war rooms later, but the war rules are going to drop hero spiders off, and then it's going to add non-mythic hero mystics, which is going to be Nightstalkers, not Agatha, but it's not Agatha, but it's all the other. So there's going to be bonuses for Nightstalkers in Crucible and in War. Let's go to Undying. I don't think this matters. What do you think? Extra max health is good when attacking a character with bleed.
Yeah.
Gain 1 defense up. Scarlet Witch gives out bleed earlier in the match, where before you had to wait for Zombie Iron Man, and Zombie Iron Man went after Hela outside of War, but in Crucible, there was no bleeds. So Zombie Scarlet Witch is going to change that, but do you think it's going to matter much? I don't know.
It could be interesting because we've seen how impactful the new stats are with Orcus, with Nightstalkers, Annihilators. So 20% max health to an already new stat, Zombie Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
If you're going against a 7/7 cracking out Zombie Scarlet Witch, I haven't seen the stats, but I'm assuming she's going to have 10 to 12 million health easily.
They're giving about 25% extra stats to Zombie Juggernaut and 30% to Hela. And then Zombie Iron Man, which is kit based, it doesn't really matter. They're about 15%. Anyways, plus another 20%. Well, they're not going to be a dead team, because they are not, the way I look at teams in Crucible is there's 6 offense, 6 defense. Undying is not a part of those 12 teams.
Yeah,
usually.
I think Undying just got bumped up to kind of a B tier cleanup team. I think they could potentially be pretty interesting, especially if you run the 4-piece with maybe an Emma to get ahead of the other team a little bit faster too. It could be interesting as a good cleanup team, that good 7th offense team, and you're like, okay, I got to clean up 3 people. Let's get to it.
They're somewhat slow though, because they don't get the speed up. In War, they get the speed up from Zombie Iron Man's passive, which we're going to go over. Let's keep going because we got a ton of stuff to talk about. On defense, that's normal, same as always. Stage 1, and this is going to be in a lot of ways similar in practice is going to feel very similar to room 1 of last season, but I'm going to read it and then you explain why that is true. Fortifying healers on hit apply 1 vulnerable up to 20. Striker characters apply 3 up to 20. All other characters plus 2. When attacking, gain 100% per vulnerable on the attacking character at the end of the turn. Clear all vulnerables on this character. Wow. So, talk about that. There's a couple teams that this might really benefit, right?
Yeah, so I mean, we've in room 1 right now. It's pretty much who's going first is a big thing because people are throwing Pav in there, people are throwing Noir in there for the turn meter. It's who goes first, and then you get all those assists going out, right? This is going to be kind of the same thing because I feel like everybody as a striker is going to be a shoo-in because when someone like Noir, Spider-Man, Pav, anybody goes, they're going to hit, they're going to apply those 3 vulnerables, and then they're going to striker attack on their own vulnerable. So they're going to double hit on every single attack. So if you've got super quick characters in Spider Society, and guess what? Spider Society clears vulnerable because of Peter B's passive, so that's also going to be pretty interesting in this room. Or you have Annihilators, where a Gladiator plus 2 other Annihilators can't have vulnerable put on them unless Gladiator's below 50% health. That could also be really interesting to negate this room rule to be a lot tankier because 100% damage per vulnerable up to a max of 20. Like if they have 9 vulnerables, you're hitting for 900% damage. Like that's not insta-sequential. Like that's a delete button with a Pav ult, like very quickly. And then it's Spider Society, and then we're potentially thinking obviously like Sus Annihilators in here again, because again, the vulnerables, all that stuff, or Orcus, because most people are going to bring Scientist Supreme to DD8, put Purple Hero 3 on her. And then guess what? You're clearing these vulnerables as well with Purple Healer.
All right, I got to read this one more time because maybe I don't fully understand the way it's going to work. I totally get the striker thing. So when you're attacking, depending on the number of vulnerables you have on yourself, right? On the attacking character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want vulnerables.
Yeah, and you would want vulnerables on yourself. Yourself. But it's a double-edged sword, though, too.
Yeah, and then because you are going to take 10% more damage per vulnerable on you, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end of turn, it's going to wipe the vulnerables, right? So
correct.
So it's really what you said, striker, skirmisher combos. Now, will it apply the vulnerable after? I mean, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to happen, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's kind of like Star-Lord Annihilator's basic, where his basic puts out a vulnerable, or his special puts out a vulnerable, and then he can striker attack on his own vulnerable that he puts out. It's the same thing with Iron Man Infinity War's basic.
But this, they're applying the vulnerables on hit. So yeah, I see. Okay, I see. So
they're going to double tap themselves. They're going to double tap on themselves, which is really good because if you have people going super, super fast, you could potentially delete someone immediately. Like it could be interesting.
All right, so this is going to feel a lot like room 1. Lots of strikers and very fast characters. All right, we're going to keep going. Room 2. This is a nothing room. We've had this before. On defense and offense, villain characters, successful attack, apply defense down to each target attack. Hero characters, unsuccessful attack, apply offense down to each target attack. This is kind of a non-event. Like room 1 is impactful. Room 2, we've had this before, right? It was in room.
Yeah, we have. This was room 6 in I think season 4 or season 5. And this was when Super Scroll had just come out, so it was playing into the Super Scroll because you want 2 heroes, 2 villains with Super Scroll, right? So you get the benefits from both sides of this room rule. I feel like villain characters are just going to be good here because the defense down is way better than offense down, in my opinion, especially with new stats. Like if you're throwing Orcus in here, Orcus going super quick, putting defense down with Nimrod, or Lady Deathstrike's putting defense down, then Nimrod's going and deleting, then Omega Sentinels go. Like, I mean, if you don't get in front of that team, you're dying. You will be dead. Like, there's no, maybe I'll survive it. No, you're getting one shot. So I think the villain side of this definitely takes favoritism here. I mean, it could be interesting to put like Sus Annihilators in here too, right? Because then a lot of people could be dying a lot faster than you're used to with like the Old Man Logan combos, the Cabal combos, stuff like that takes out that. Could be interesting.
Okay. Room 3, you're not a fan of this, but we're going to talk about it. room counts as raid. We've had this before, but it's been a minute. Lower resistance and healing by 50%. That is mostly about Bifrost.
Yep.
Nightstalkers, right?
Nightstalkers are going to be ridiculously good here. Remember, they get speed. They don't get turn meter. So something like North Star doesn't stop Nightstalkers because they're getting base speed, right? Mm-hmm. So for North Star in raids stops that speed bar. So that's why he's really good against like Super Scroll and stuff like that in raids. So he's stopping that turn meter. So like if you're seeing maybe like somebody's throwing in Hive Mind Sus in here, you could use Alpha Flight and absolutely delete it. Okay. Like Alpha Flight would just annihilate it.
So this is also true for Orcus, other than Scientist Supreme.
Yes.
North Star is amazing. In raids, enemy characters cannot fill speed bar for themselves or allies. And I just got to tell you this. Like, if you're going up on the final boss node of either raid right now, bring in North Star. And you can sim the node. You put in North Star with all the goodies, you know, Old Man Logan and Apocalypse and Super Scroll and Mephisto, whatever you got, right? You win. But you got to bring in North Star because this is going to shut down enemy Super Scrolls, whatever they got going over there. But both the Nightstalkers team and the Orcus team were kind of designed around this, with the exception of Scientist Supreme. So that North Star is going to be important. And tell us about the sleeper of the last time that we had this, right?
Yeah, a big plug and play was Deathpool. People were using Deathpool, Bifrost, and stuff like that to take out that Hive Mind Sus that we were seeing a lot. Because in raids, on spawn, pill speed bar for self and Mystic allies by 10% plus 5% for each Mystic ally. So it's 30%. So if you're throwing in Deathpool with Oath, with Blade, with Man-Thing, and another Nightstalkers, you're getting 30% on spawn speed from Deathpool. Then you're getting 20% overall base speed from Man-Thing, and then you're getting another 5% from Oath. So you're getting
55?
Your turn one is going so fast that you might just absolutely shred the enemy team before they even look at you.
Yeah, unless they put, well, I mean, this is fill speed bar, so North Star would counter this. Would negate this, and I guess Oath also, but not the man thing. Not the man
Correct.
thing. So, just there's a difference between filling speed bar and gaining speed.
Correct.
That's what we're talking about here. Okay, so we talked about the important characters there. I think this is going to be Orcus and or Nightstalkers, maybe Orcus on defense and the Nightstalkers on offense. And the problem with this node is what?
It's boring in a week because we all figure out what it is in a week.
Yes.
And then it's the same matchup for 6 weeks in a row.
Yes.
That's it.
And then the match is either identical and the result is the same on both sides, or it's a function of who has the biggest one in efficiency. Yeah. I mean, it's
an RNG mirror match. It's who wins the coin flips. It's nothing.
It's nothing.
Now I will say the one good thing about this, if it is Nightstalkers, right, that are good on defense, the mirror will win because Oath only gets that 5% speed on offense. So they're going to immediately win all those coin flips. So that's the only thing I'll say that, like, hey, at least that's kind of good. But not everybody's going to have Nightstalkers for potentially most of this season. So that's going to issue too. Yeah,
this is
harder.
This is literally whale harder for Nightstalkers. Okay, yeah. Stage 4. We've had this room before too, right? With blind, lower that character speed by 5% and armor by 25. Ultimate abilities apply blind to the primary target. I remember this being like an Infinity Watch room, right?
Yep. It was Infinity Watch, and then people were throwing like Death Seed in here because they saw the blind and you're lowering speed, and Magneto goes super fast with Death Seed, and it's like this room is kind of meh. I think honestly the best thing about this room is new warriors on offense in this room are really good because the blinds don't affect them at all because they have 200% accuracy, and blind essentially just lowers accuracy by 100%.
Yeah.
So the room rule doesn't affect them as much. Obviously they will still lose that speed, but new warriors have never had a speed issue. New warriors just have a they fall flat eventually issue and they get resisted.
They have a
it's a stat issue.
Stat issue, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
so it's a meh room. It was meh last time. It's going to be meh this time.
All right, so this is somewhat interesting. Unlimited X-Men characters count as Masters of Evil. Masters of Evil count as Unlimited. Now, Unlimited has 2 notable members, and that's going to be Rogue and Gambit. And then Masters of Evil, Ultron's useless, but the other 4 are interesting. Talk about... let's look at the passive on Gambit. So this is going to give 25% crit chance and crit damage, which might be super powerful with Kang, and then a 25% max health. And then the one that you're the most excited about is Rogue, which spawns up with Safeguard, which you think is going to be impactful with Absorbing Man, because then Absorbing Man will now be a pre-taunting Safeguard tank, which is... entirely different than a non-Safeguard tank, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember, so a lot of people have been using Bishop with Extreme because Bishop's a pre-taunt, and then if Bishop dies, he's giving Forge the turn meter if Cyclops is there, right? It works the same way now, but now you have somebody with Safeguard and taunt. So Bishop works weird because if you hit him, he drops his taunt. So even if you just basic on him with Titania, then you hit whoever you want after that, right? It only controls your first turn. If you've got a big Absorbing Man, which unfortunately his stats are kind of crappy, but he's getting extra health from Gambit, so that could be interesting. He's going to be a decent tank, and you're not getting through that Safeguard very quickly. So maybe put some diamonds on Absorbing Man. It'd be fitting because he could change into diamonds with his ult. No, okay. So I mean, I don't know, maybe.
So you're basically suggesting run Extreme with Absorbing Man because Kang is probably going to most likely still be reserved to work with Cabal, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know Masters of Evil have started falling off a lot just because Kang and Titania are the only 2 that are really, really standouts on that team. Moonstone's just a wet noodle and just dies quickly. Ultron is just warming the bench. And then Absorbing Man, I think, is going to be relegated to defense. So it could be interesting. I think Rogue, Gambit, Absorbing Man, and then maybe like a Nightcrawler, maybe throwing in Forge in there, throwing in some other people could be pretty interesting. Because Nightcrawler will then give health as well to the Extreme members or the X-Men allies, I think. So he'll give health to everybody except for Absorbing Man.
It's going to be an efficiency play at a minimum. To do it that way. At a minimum, it'll be efficiency play because if you can't get through Forge and you're stuck in Absorbing Man and then Rogue, it's just going to be a long match. Okay.
And when you drop Absorbing Man below 50%, Rogue gets a reflexive taunt. So now you're stuck on Absorbing Man until you get through him, and then Rogue is taunting, then you're stuck on Rogue. So it's actually pretty interesting. You're going to be stuck for a while.
Put Forge in the middle. I don't know. I mean, you could do all.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Imagine Old Man Logan there, and you can't get to him.
Oh man, Old Man Logan.
Oh man, indeed.
Oh man. All right, what's up, dog? So this is Up Dog's room rules, and I had a very visceral reaction to this room when I saw it. Reduce all healing by 100%. Spawn with Safeguard, immunity, and defense up. Stats. Post Ares team, right? I mean, you actually said something though about the Safeguard because that's going to open up Apocalypse and Ares, right, to being on offense, right? So.
Yeah, so I mean, Ares obviously stops the Safeguard. So if you're putting in like a B tier team that's not very fast and might not have the stats of post Ares, people are just going to Ares New Warriors this and absolutely shred it. Like not even close, shred it, because they're going to flip the immunity, they're going to flip the defense up, and then New Warriors are going to have their way with you because you're going to have defense down, disrupted, trauma, bleeds, offense down, rewind. Like they're going to be absolutely great here. So I think it's interesting that New Warriors might have a little bit of a revival in room 4 and 6 on offense. But other than this, it's just stats. Like it's Annihilators with Safeguard immunity, defense up. It's Orcus with Safeguard immunity, defense up. Like this room is going to be, hey, I have to use Ares here or I have to use Apocalypse here to stop the Safeguard on spawn.
So reduce all healing by 100%. Do we know if that's going to work with Drain? Actually, we don't know. Do we know if Drain's good? If Drain works, then what we just said is entirely different, perhaps, right? I mean,
because Nightstalkers have Drain. So if you put Nightstalkers in here, they're going to heal. No one else will. Yeah. Now, Old Man Logan won't heal in here, right? So there is that. So Old Man Logan's dead in this room, but Gore won't heal in this room either from his ult. His ult is a big heal. So there are some things. So I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, but like teams like Orcus could be interesting. But granted, they won't heal from Scientist Supreme ult or special, so that could be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of plug and play with this to make this work well.
There historically has been a difference between healing and drain.
Yes.
Historically, they're different, the way they're coded. So the way that what says here in this document right here, this PDF document, may be different than the way it works in game, or we don't know. Like I wish it said reduce all healing and drain by 100%, or maybe drain works, maybe doesn't. But typically drain is not healing. Okay, Alliance War. Now before we get into Alliance War, I want to talk about what is leaving, and this is going to be a big deal. Spider-Verse allies, if not exhausted, spawn with 2 safeguard, offense up and defense up. I believe this is going to minimize the effectiveness in Spider Society and potentially make Infestation fall off. Like the Infestation may not make the cut on defense after this change. I mean, anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, Infestation was not the best defense once people found the inferior 6 counter to them. And they got really good. Like, honestly, Infestation's a good defense right now, especially if you see like a 3 diamond BTS, you're like, he's going to solo my nowhere. Right. Cool. But like after this, it's because of that.
Yeah.
And after that, they're nothing. It's the same thing with Hivemind on defense. Like people have been using like Hivemind Sus, Hivemind Ares, BK, stuff like that. They're no longer getting those buffs. So like Void Knight, Gwen, they're all losing that. Entangled's losing it as well. So it's kind of meh now. Like I think Infestation might hit the bench on higher end war, honestly.
Yep. And I mean, maybe for your alliance it'll be fine, but I suspect on the extreme upper end it'll fall off. Now, what is getting the bump? The bump is they say Bifrost here, but I'm just gonna cut to the chase. It's Hero, Mystic, but not Odin.
Correct.
So
Correct.
That's the best way of describing it. We're gonna go in game and I'll pull it up here. So you got Nightstalkers, Captain Britain, Ghost Rider, Silver Surfer, Moon Knight, Vol, Robbie, Noir, Shuri, Eternal,
and CB,
Quicksilver. So we're gonna go through this. Certain rooms, these characters that are here on the screen are gonna get massive boosts. With not Odin.
Correct.
Not Odin, but because they exclude mythics specifically. But even Starbrand is a beast in Alliance War, right? So
Eternals, Captain Britain, there's a lot of stuff here that could be interesting.
Okay, so we're gonna go over the room now. It's just gonna be certain rooms now. Bifrost, I'm sure, Vol and Valkyrie and Beta will still show up on defense, mixed in with 2 other teams like Tangled or I've seen so many different versions of that. That's gonna be helpful, but then I'm gonna call it now. Probably when this falls off, Bifrost might be done. Maybe not. Vol's really interesting, right? Because Vol is in this category, and we'll see how it goes. Anyways, Vol might continue to be interesting. So it's just some of the rooms, right? And I mean, Medbay, I guess you just need to be aware of Medbay. Defending allies can clear bleed from self and gain offense up. So maybe Undying won't be as effective on offense there. Right? I mean, that's what that
Undying's got trauma, though. Undying's got trauma from Zug Special and Zim. The only thing I could see this is kind of meh is maybe like an SD on offense because they're going to clear the bleeds that Robbie's putting out and stuff like that. But other than that, this one's kind of It might be interesting if you're trying to like delete a team and then it's like, they didn't die. Now they have offense up and it's their turn and they're going to delete me. So that could be somewhat interesting.
Yeah, I feel like this is just one of those room rules that you'll forget about that it has this. And then you were just like, why? How come? Where did the bleeds go? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of be one of those things where it's like, okay. Armory.
Don't trust the bleeds.
Armory is going to give an extra 20% to the characters we talked about. That should be impactful, especially with Nightstalkers. And then
that's all stats too. That's all stats. That's really good. So that's not speed. That's not the base speed of a character, but that's like health, focus, resistance, attack. Like that's a lot of stats.
Yeah, and there's a couple. So the new characters are going to be boosted. We're talking post Ares. Post Ares characters Blade Oath if you voiled out and you got 7 stars. But for players like me, that's probably going to be Silver Surfer and Moon Knight that are just going to be gigantic in those rooms, right? And there's just so many pairs in here. Cosmic Ghost Rider. So anyways, whoever's in Armory, if you've got somebody in your alliance that went all out on Blade and Oath and Man-Thing, that might be the place to do it, is in Armory. Security's the same, bridge is the same. Hangar adds 15% barrier to the same group of characters. I don't know if that matters too much. I mean, it's fine, right?
Yeah, it's negligible.
And then Barracks, same thing, additional offense up. I really think, and then we've got Cargo Bay, 20% stats. So this is really going to be about Cargo Bay and what was the other one? The Armory.
And Armory, yeah.
So you're just going to put, your 4 largest alliance members in there and maybe weight up, maybe pull some of this stuff off of offense if that's where your alliance normally allocates it, and throw this stuff on defense. I think the biggest change for Alliance War is really just the dropping off of the Spider-Verse.
Oh, big time.
This is going to be the biggest change, and we've known that this was going to happen for a while. So, in summary, what are your thoughts about Crucible and War?
Crucible, it could be interesting. I think the blind room is kind of meh. I think the heroes doing offense down and the defense and the villains doing the defense down is also meh. I think room 1's going to be pretty interesting, because you could make a case for trying to go second as well, because if everybody's putting vulnerables on you super fast, then you go with all that extra damage. You could make a case to do that as well, which could be interesting. There might be a little bit of teeter-totter there. Mm-hmm. Room 3, I hate the raid room. It's going to be solved in a week, and we're just going to be sitting on our hands, being mad that we don't have Nightstalkers or Orcus yet. Room 5, I think, is going to be pretty interesting. I think overall this could be pretty good. I think there's going to be some awesome ideas. I think there's going to be a lot of plug-and-play ability. Room 6 is going to be the biggest variable, which I think is awesome because it's a community-driven room rule. Updog won the tournament. He chose this, which is really cool. I like how Scopely's doing this every single season now, it seems. I hope they keep doing this. And then for War, I mean, it's Nightstalkers, man. They're going to be awesome on defense. They're going to be awesome on offense. Those Hero Mystic characters are getting some boosts. And Spider Society, take them off defense because they are an absolute throwaway now. Take them off defense.
Okay. All right. Well, that will do it for today. Looking forward to all of the fun. Hopefully I have Odin before all this stuff starts, and so I'm not going to be in suckage. I should have him in the next couple days.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah. He's so fun.
All right. Bye for now.